worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanzeeba Naurin. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. Biden says Gaza hospital must be protected as tanks close in. At least 3 dead, 18 injured after semi-trailer crashes into bus carrying students in Ohio. US Supreme Court announces new code of ethics for justices. US announces third round of sanctions targeting Hamas. President Biden sued for complicity in Israel's genocide in Gaza. Biden Xi to discuss communication competition at APEC summit. Biden US scholars accuse Trump of echoing Hitler. We will continue to stand by Ukraine, Antony Blinken. The man accused of attacking Nancy Pelosi's husband says he wanted to end corruption. Canadian peace activist Vivian Silver confirmed killed in Hamas attacks. Indonesian President Joko Widodo urges Biden to help end Gaza atrocities. Diaz reunited with father after 12-day kidnapping ordeal. And manslaughter arrest in death of hockey player whose neck was cut with skate blade during game. You are listening to Headlines, now news in detail. President Joe Biden has said that Gaza's largest hospital must be protected as Israeli tanks surround the facility with hundreds of patients and staff trapped inside. Speaking to reporters at the White House on Monday, Biden said he hoped to see Israel take less intrusive action at Al-Shifa Hospital, which medical staff say has been repeatedly targeted by Israeli bombing and snipers. My hope and expectation is that there will be less intrusive action relative to hospitals and we remain in contact with the Israelis, Biden told reporters in the Oval Office. Also, there is an effort to get this pause to deal with the release of prisoners, and that's being negotiated, as well with the Qataris being engaged, the US president added. So I remain somewhat hopeful, but hospitals must be protected. Biden's comments came as medics warned of mounting casualties among patients, including newborn babies, at the hospital, which has been encircled by Israeli forces since Saturday. Witnesses on Monday reported that tanks and armored vehicles were positioned just meters from the gate of the medical complex, where staff say power outages, dwindling medical supplies, and Israeli bombardment have made taking care of patients next to impossible. At least 3 people were killed and 18 others were injured Tuesday after a crash on an Ohio interstate between a semi-trailer and a bus carrying students, authorities said. Shortly after 9 a.m., the semi-trailer rear-ended a charter bus carrying students and chaperones from the Tuscarawas Valley Local School District who were heading to an Ohio School Boards Association conference in Columbus, the district said in a Facebook post. We understand from law enforcement that there may be multiple serious injuries and we are working to learn the details. We will share news with you as we are able, including our plans for upcoming school days and events, Superintendent Dr. Derek Waransky said. Right now, our focus is on getting in touch with our Tusky Valley families who had loved ones on the bus and providing support to our entire school community. Our Trojan family is strong and it will take that strength and love to get through these coming challenging days, Waransky continued. The crash involved 5 vehicles on Interstate 70 west in Licking County, said Lieutenant Nate Dennis with the Ohio State Highway Patrol Public Affairs Unit. 18 people on the charter bus were taken to area hospitals, he said. The Supreme Court of the United States has announced its first formal code of ethics governing the conduct of its 9 justices, following months of outside pressure over revelations of undisclosed luxury trips and gifts from wealthy benefactors. The policy, agreed to by all justices and put in place on Monday, does not appear to impose any enforcement mechanism and leaves compliance entirely up to each justice, critics noted. The 9 members of the nation's highest court are the only federal judges not explicitly subject to ethical oversight, and pressure has been mounting from Democrats in the Senate for them to adopt a code of conduct. The 9-page code contains sections codifying that justices should not let outside relationships influence their official conduct or judgment, spelling out restrictions on their participation in fundraising and reiterating limits on the accepting of gifts. It also states that justices should not to any substantial degree use judicial resources or staff for non-official activities. The United States and the United Kingdom have announced jointly coordinated sanctions targeting the Palestinian armed groups Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. In a statement on Tuesday, the U.S. Department of the Treasury said that it was imposing a 3rd round of sanctions on Hamas, targeting the group's leadership and the mechanisms through which Iran provides support to the group and the PIJ. Hamas's actions have caused immense suffering and shown that terrorism does not occur in isolation, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said in the statement. Together with our partners, we are decisively moving to degrade Hamas's financial infrastructure, cut them off from outside funding, and block the new funding channels they seek to finance their heinous acts. Britain added sanctions on 4 Hamas senior leaders and 2 financiers, the Foreign Office said in a statement, including the group's political leader in Gaza and the commander of its military arm. The President of the United States and 2 of his cabinet members are being sued for failing to prevent and aiding and abetting genocide in Gaza, a federal complaint filed on Monday against President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, accuses them of failure to prevent and complicity in the Israeli government's unfolding genocide. New York civil liberties group, the Center for Constitutional Rights, filed the suit on behalf of Palestinian human rights organizations, Palestinians in Gaza, and U.S. citizens with relatives in the besieged enclave that has faced more than a month of relentless bombardment by Israel, which receives funding and weapons from the U.S. government. More than 11,200 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since Israel launched attacks on October 7. This followed a Hamas attack in Israel in which about 1,200 people were killed. Numerous Israeli government leaders have expressed clear genocidal intentions and deployed dehumanizing characterizations of Palestinians, including human animals, the CCR wrote in the introduction to its complaint. It said those statements of intent, when combined with the mass killing of Palestinians, reveal evidence of an unfolding crime of genocide. Numerous legal scholars, rights groups, and humanitarians have also called Israel's actions in Gaza genocide. The White House said on Monday President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping will discuss strengthening communication and managing competition when they meet on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit this week. The face-to-face meeting in the San Francisco Bay Area tomorrow will be the first between Biden and Xi in a year, with the high-stakes diplomacy aimed at curbing tensions between the two superpowers. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told reporters Biden believes there is no substitute for face-to-face diplomacy to manage the complex relationship. We anticipate that the leaders will discuss some of the most fundamental elements of the US-PRC bilateral relationship, including the continued importance of strengthening open lines of communication and managing competition responsibly so that it does not veer into conflict, Sullivan said, referring to the People's Republic of China. The way we achieve that is through intense diplomacy. That's how we clear up misperceptions and avoid surprises, he said. Former US President Donald Trump faced a furious backlash Monday over Veterans Day weekend remarks branding his political opponents vermin, as leading scholars and President Joe Biden accused him of parroting Hitler and Mussolini. In a social media post to mark the holiday on Saturday, Trump pledged to root out the communists, Marxists, fascists, and radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country, lie, steal, and cheat on elections, and will do anything possible, whether legally or illegally, to destroy America and the American dream. The tycoon later repeated the remarks at a speech in New Hampshire. On a weekend when most Americans were honoring our nation's heroes, Donald Trump parroted the autocratic language of Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini, two dictators many US veterans gave their lives fighting, in order to defeat exactly the kind of un-American ideas Trump now champions, the Biden campaign said. The White House added separately that Trump's remark would be horrifying, recognizable to American veterans who put on their country's uniform in the 1940s. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Monday promised a top Ukrainian official sustained US support, including help to get through the winter, with Russia feared to strike Kiev's infrastructure again. Blinken met Andriy Yermak, a top aide to President Vladimir Zelensky, on a brief stop back in Washington in between the top US diplomats' latest Middle East crisis tour and an Asia-Pacific summit in San Francisco. Despite the new focus on the Middle East, President Joe Biden has vowed to keep up the tens of billions of dollars for Ukraine to fight back Russian invaders, but he faces skepticism from parts of the rival Republican Party. We, in all of our conversations with the Ukrainian government, make clear that we will continue to stand by them, that we will continue to back them, State Department spokesman Matthew Miller told reporters. Blinken spoke to Yermak about steps we can take together with Ukraine to harden its infrastructure for the upcoming winter, Miller said. The man accused of attacking former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer last year told jurors at his federal trial Tuesday how he went to the Pelosi's San Francisco home as part of a bigger plan to end corruption in the United States. David DePape spoke for more than an hour, often getting emotional and crying about how his political leanings went from leftist to right-wing after reading a comment on a YouTube video about former President Donald Trump. He said he went to the Pelosi's home to talk to Pelosi about Russian involvement in the 2016 election and that he planned to wear an inflatable unicorn costume and upload his interrogation of her online. Prosecutors say DePape bludgeoned Paul Pelosi in the early hours of October 28, 2022, just days before the midterm elections, and that he had rope and zip ties with him. DePape has pleaded not guilty to attempted kidnapping of a federal official and assault on the immediate family member of a federal official with intent to retaliate against the official for performance of their duties. He did not deny attacking Paul Pelosi while testifying Tuesday. His attorneys argue that charges do not fit because they say he was not seeking to go after Nancy Pelosi because of her official duties as a member of Congress. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for global updates. Vivian Silver, a Canadian-Israeli peace activist who went missing during Hamas's October 7 attacks on Israel, has been confirmed dead, her family have told Canadian media. Silver was killed in the Palestinian armed group's initial attacks on southern Israeli communities, Silver's son Yonatan Zigin told CBC News and CTV News on Monday. He said his mother's remains had been found earlier but were only identified more than 5 weeks after the attacks. Silver, the founder of Women with Peace and the Arab Jewish Center for Equality, Empowerment and Cooperation, had been living in Kibbutz Be'eri near Gaza after relocating from Winnipeg in the early 1970s. In an article earlier this month, the Washington Post described Silver as having spent her entire adult life denouncing Israel's treatment of Palestinians, lobbying for diplomatic solutions to the conflict, ferrying children from Gaza to Israeli hospitals. Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly described Silver as a proud Israeli Canadian and a lifelong advocate for peace. Indonesian President Joko Widodo has pressed his United States counterpart Joe Biden to do more to end atrocities in Gaza and help bring about a ceasefire. The two leaders' talks on Monday were overshadowed by the month-long Israel-Hamas war, in which the US has given Israel its full support. Widodo, who is popularly known as Jokowi, attended a joint summit of Arab and Muslim leaders in Riyadh at the weekend, which condemned Israel and called for a ceasefire. Indonesia is the world's most populous Muslim country and has seen large protests in support of the Palestinians, as well as a boycott of businesses seen as linked to Israel. Indonesia appeals to the US to do more to stop the atrocities in Gaza, Widodo said in the Oval Office as the two presidents met in the White House in front of a roaring fire. A ceasefire is a must for the sake of humanity, US officials have said. Biden is keen for Indonesia to play a larger role in the Middle East, which could include the ceasefire issue, but also long-term goals such as a two-state solution after the war and rebuilding Gaza. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 15,732.67. The NYSE Composite is increased by 329.53 points or 2.14%. Tokyo stock close price is 32,695.93. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 110.82 points or 0.34%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,056.07. The Shanghai index is increased by 9.54 points or 0.31%. Hong Kong stock close price is 17,396.86. The Hang Seng index is decreased by 29.35 points or 0.17%. Bombay stock close price is 64,933.87. The Sensex index is decreased by 325.58 points or 0.50%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Liverpool striker Luis Diaz had a tearful reunion Tuesday with his father, freed last week after a 12-day kidnapping ordeal at the hands of Colombia's ELN guerrilla group. Diaz was back home in Colombia to join the national team ahead of a World Cup qualifying match against Brazil Thursday in the seaport city of Barranquilla, where the meeting with his dad, Luis Manuel Diaz, was arranged. The pair embraced in tears, according to images distributed by the Colombian Football Federation. Luis Manuel Diaz wore a black t-shirt with the words, "No more kidnapping." After 12 days deprived of freedom, this is the first contact of the player with his father and the rest of the family, who lived long moments of anguish. The FCF said on its website with a photo of the two men and the footballer's young daughter on her grandfather's knee. Police in England arrested a man Tuesday on suspicion of manslaughter in the death of American ice hockey player Adam Johnson, whose neck was cut by a skate during a game. Johnson was playing for the Nottingham Panthers against the Sheffield Steelers on October 28 when he was struck by an opponent's skate blade in the Elite Ice Hockey League game at Sheffield's Utilita Arena. South Yorkshire police did not name the suspect or provide his age. He was in police custody. Matt Petgrave, who plays for Sheffield, was the other player involved in the grisly incident that reverberated around the hockey community and led to moments of silence in the NHL. Video of the incident shows Johnson skating with the puck toward the Steelers' net. Petgrave skates toward Johnson and collides with another Panthers player. Petgrave's left skate kicks up as he begins to fall and the blade hits Johnson in the neck. Both players land on the ice. Petgrave immediately got to his feet. Johnson rose more slowly, and as he is helped off the ice, his jersey is covered in blood. He later died at a local hospital. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. Before finishing today's news, let's hear out the headlines again. Biden says Gaza hospital must be protected as tanks close in. At least 3 dead, 18 injured after semi-trailer crashes into bus carrying students in Ohio. US Supreme Court announces new code of ethics for justices. US announces third round of sanctions targeting Hamas. President Biden sued for complicity in Israel's genocide in Gaza. Biden Xi to discuss communication competition at APEC summit. Biden US scholars accuse Trump of echoing Hitler. We will continue to stand by Ukraine, Antony Blinken. The man accused of attacking Nancy Pelosi's husband says he wanted to end corruption. Canadian peace activist Vivian Silver confirmed killed in Hamas attacks. Indonesian President Joko Widodo urges Biden to help end Gaza atrocities. Diaz reunited with father after 12-day kidnapping ordeal. And manslaughter arrest in death of hockey player whose neck was cut with skate blade during game. That's all for today. Keep watching Millennium News Hour for latest news update. To stay updated, like our Facebook page, subscribe our YouTube channel and visit our website. Our website address is www.millenniumnews24.com. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all LED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV. And also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all the latest news worldwide. Thank you.